Am I the asshole for telling my husband his name suggestion for our unborn baby is idiotic at best? Hello, all. This has caused quite a stir on both sides of the family, and my niece suggested I post this here so as to garner unbiased opinions. Unfortunately, as it is relevant to the story, I will have to keep much personal information uncensored in this story. As such, this is a throwaway account. My 35 female husband, 37 male, and I are pregnant with our first child. We are overjoyed as we have struggled with perceived infertility and miscarriages for the last decade. We want the gender to be a surprise, but may have to find out to settle this. I'm currently at the tail end of my second trimester. Now, my husband absolutely idolized his grandpa, who unfortunately passed away last week. My husband is devastated, especially about the notion that his children will never meet their grandpa, who their father adored so much. As such, my husband has suggested that we name the baby after grandpa. Theodore if it's a boy, and Theodora if it's a girl. Either way, we will call them Teddy or Theo/Thea, respectively. It's not that I mind the name. The issue is that our last name is Bundy. Pronounced Bundy. I asked my husband, do you really see no issue in naming our kid Teddy Bundy? You don't think that would raise any questions? He says no, he's just honoring his grandpa. I told him he needs to think about how we will be perceived, how our child would be treated, and the implications that that name inherently carries. I literally had to spell out why that would be a horrible idea, and he still thinks I just hate his grandpa. I told him no. Grandpa was named in 1930 when the name Teddy Bundy wouldn't have been a problem. However, since certain events in the 70s and 80s, there's no feasible way that we can give this kid that name and not cause issues. He kept pushing and pushing until I blew up and told him to stop with the idiotic suggestion, and that's what it is. Idiotic at best, sociopathic at worst. He got extremely upset and told his family and my parents, who are divided. His family is obviously on his side and wants to honor Grandpa via naming the baby after him. My parents are torn, but on my side, as they understand the social para we would make our child by giving them such a similar name to the person who did such abhorrent and downright evil things to so many women. I mean, personally, I don't think anyone is just going to assume that we're honoring a past loved one. They're just going to think of Ted Bundy. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole at all. I'm not naming my kid Ted Bundy. I don't care if the grandpa was the second coming of Christ. You're not getting the name Ted Bundy on any birth certificate near my name. Like, absolutely not. And the fact that that's even an option is crazy. Like, make him watch like a documentary or something about him, because I get that you are relating that and connecting that name with your grandpa, but you have to realize no one else connects that name with your grandpa. They're immediately thinking Ted Bundy. Like, what? Would you name your kid Jeffrey Dahmer? No, I don't think so. So I'm a little bit confused. And also, like, how about we can, like, honor the grandpa in a different way, maybe. Honor him in a different way by maybe just giving her a T name or something. Like, that could be honoring. I mean, I don't think that it's really going to make a difference to honor his name. Like, what's that really gonna change? I get it, but with the way that this is going to pan out, I think it's way better to not do this and not name your kid a literal name of a man who, exactly like she said, did abhorrent and evil things to so many women. And it's kind of, I don't know. It's really crazy that any of the family would not be on her side. I just don't see how anyone would think, no, this is definitely a good idea. It's like, I completely agree with her. I think I would probably say such mean things to him because I would be like, I cannot believe, like, I kind of want to divorce you for even thinking that's a good idea. There's 2 edits, and it says, Just to say that you guys are all proving my point that Ted Bundy is clearly still an infamous name. There has not been one comment that didn't immediately make the correlation upon hearing my last name. That is exactly what I don't want to have happen to my child. Kids are dicks and they're gonna find a way to be mean. Let's not just hand them material. Bundy's full name was Theodore Bundy. That's where this problem is ultimately stemming from. When a teacher reads the name from the roll, be it Theodore or Theodora, they aren't going to assume a nickname. It's just going to be the full thing. Yeah. And also, like, I don't want to look at my child and think of Ted Bundy. So I'm good on that. I just think it's so insane. I honestly. This says, unsurprisingly, OP was voted not the asshole. Yeah, thank God. Some top comments from the original post. Not the asshole. Please do not name your kid, in effect, Ted Bundy. Literally ignore everybody encouraging you to name your kid Ted Bundy. Please. Not the asshole. If your last name is Dahmer, you'd probably stay away from Jeffrey. I share the same name as a famous athlete in the state he played college ball. I was 8 when he became famous, so I wasn't named after him, just coincidence. It comes with its own issues. Nothing too bad outside of people thinking I'm him, finding my address by typing my name into Google, and then they stop by my house. It's happened twice. I couldn't imagine having to share a name with a serial killer. Exactly. I could not. Not the asshole, even if the name wasn't bad in this way, it takes 2 yeses for a baby's name. 2, even if you simply didn't like the name, your no means no. How many people did it take to make the baby? 2, how many people did it take to raise the baby? Or will it take to raise the baby? 2, and how many people get to decide on the name? 2. Yeah, but the thing is that one person is legit, like, pining for this to happen. So he's probably going to be fully fighting for this. Also, I'm so interested to see what this person says because they said you're the asshole. You knew what that name meant to him, yet you call it idiotic. That's hurtful. You could have just said that it wasn't a good idea. To the point of the name, I think you're overreacting. Yes, that guy was a bad person, but at this point, it had already been a long time. By the time your child is older, nobody's going to remember that guy. It's just a name, and putting what strangers think over your husband is terrible. I'm sorry. That's not actually. I don't think that at all. First of all, the generation she's being raised in, Ted Bundy is an extremely infamous person. So, I think by the time she's older, I don't think that's gonna be any different. Especially because it's been a long time. It's been what, almost 60 years since all of that stuff happened, like 50 to 60 years or whatever, and we're still making documentaries and movies and shows about him. What makes you think in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, that's just all of a sudden going to be nothing? No, I think that there are certain people that are just infamous for life pretty much. And like, no one's going to forget that. It's going to be like, oh yeah, Ted, like, he's one of the infamous serial killers that are probably going to be remembered for a long time. And people also are very into true crime, and true crime is always going to be a thing. So that's always going to be a popular, hate that word for this, but that's going to be a popular, like, story always. Just like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, I can think of a few serial killers off the top of my head that are going to be infamous probably forever. So OP said Ted Bundy is in textbooks. He's definitely still being taught about in schools. Our niece, high school junior, recently had a lesson pertaining to him and other infamous figures from the 70s and 80s. I don't want my child to be relentlessly harassed. I also don't want my child to share a name with a rapist and a serial murderer. Me either. Me literally either. And I don't even care if that name will be forgotten in 25, 30 years. I won't forget that name, and I don't want to look at my child and think about that person. So, like, genuinely, it just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, this is update, and it's the final update 4 days later. Essentially, my husband stayed with his brother and sister-in-law for a night, and they talked it out. His brother was also very close with their grandpa, so I think hearing the same logic from someone grieving just as much knocked some sense into him. They explained why he couldn't just name his kid Ted Bundy, and especially because we live in the western U.S., in one of the states where he operated, and was also caught, imprisoned, and escaped. I don't even think it's legal to use that name. We spoke briefly on the phone before he came home, where I apologized for how rude I was when he kept suggesting the name. I explained that I was just stressed that he was seemingly overlooking just how bad it would be to have a kid with the same name as a very notorious serial killer, and I didn't feel that he listened. He apologized as well, telling me that his grief was clouding his judgment and that he also understands why we can't give our child Grandpa's name. While we did want to keep the gender a surprise, we felt like we had to look at the ultrasound to help hash this out. We're having a baby boy and decided to give him Grandpa's middle name, Silas. Our son will have the name Silas Bundy. We've also decided to go through with marriage counseling as well as grief counseling for my husband. He's asked me to attend, and I'm sure I could learn how to be more compassionate about his loss. I was never too close with my grandparents, so I'm trying to be there for him, but can't empathize as well as I could. All in all, this worked out. Thank you so much for everyone who gave their opinions. You really helped us out here. This will be my final update. I'm going to be deleting this account as I've already been doxxed, and I've also been sent links to articles and videos that people have started using this story in. I have not been asked for any of them, and I just want to be off the grid now. Once again, thank you all so much. This was such a wild thing that I honestly never thought would happen, but yeah, I'm so glad that this has been worked through. Thank you, everyone. Thank God. Also, Silas, like, I kind of like that name, but only because I think about Vampire Diaries. Even though Silas is, like, also evil in that show, but I kind of love the name Silas. I don't know. It's just giving, like, I can't believe that name. Theodore Silas Bundy? That's a crazy name. The top comment says, this post wins the award for the most unexpected trigger warning on a post about baby names. That combination of trigger warning and mood spoiler got a chuckle out of me. I didn't even see this. What is it? It says, death of a family member talks of Ted Bundy's crimes. Positive ending for the mood spoiler. Okay. Well, talks of Ted Bundy's crimes is crazy about when the title is the suggestion for our unborn baby. Oh, Lordy. I'm so glad they got that figured out because God forbid they named their child Ted Bundy. And it just makes it all the more worse that he is also going to be a male. Like, that just makes it so much worse. And I don't understand why that wasn't thought of earlier, the whole middle name fiasco. Yeah, okay. Well, thank God we're not going to have the second coming of fucking Ted Bundy, for the love of God. This person said, the commenter talking about how sharing a name with someone well-known is a burden, even if the person isn't awful. I had a friend who shared a name with a B-list comedian. He had trouble signing up for websites under his actual name because he got flagged for impersonating a celebrity. There are so many new factors to consider regarding naming your kids today. So true. I feel like I also would hate to be, because then you kind of just get, like, associated with that person, and it's, like, even good or bad, I don't want to be associated with another person or, like, just immediately basically push to the side and be like, oh yeah, like, oh my God, your kid, like, your name is Michael Jordan. And then it's like, yeah, but like, just because my name is Michael Jordan doesn't mean I know Michael Jordan. Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to talk to you guys because so I just want to chat with you guys, but also I have been seeing so many people commenting on my take on the devil. And I just think it's so funny because, like, people, it's just like, okay, first of all, my devil is slay theory, like, he's eating, he's like boots, and he's cool because he, like, punishes bad people. People genuinely got, like, upset with me in the comments and were, like, so defensive about it. And the thing is, guys, like, I don't believe in the Bible anymore. So, like, I'm just having silly fun time thinking about different theories and ways that I can interpret different things. Like, I'm not saying that you need to believe that the devil is slay because he tortures, because people are saying, like, well, no, because he makes people, he tempts people with, like, sin and evil and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, I don't really care about the logistics. Like, I'm legit just, like, saying my interpretation of why maybe you can think that the devil is slight, because he also, if we are thinking about like the logistics, God gives people free will. So if you're tempted by something, well, that's still your choice. No one forced you to be evil, you know? Okay, whatever. But even regardless of that, like, let me believe what I want to believe. You guys can believe what you want to believe, and I'll believe what I want to believe. And I don't believe in the Bible as it's written. I believe that the devil is like, I also just don't believe in the devil, really. Like, I think since deconstructing my beliefs of like Christianity from the time before I was even born, and like I was literally going to church in the womb and being talked to and prayed over, and like t- what is it called? Like there were people at the church saying like who I was going to be and what I was going to be when I was born and when I got older and stuff. Like I forget what that's called. Not philosophy. But whatever. You can watch full episodes at youtube.com/jamie.nelson98 on my main channel. Thanks for watching.